on the new Roe V Wade the movie film, which Facebook of all places, the masters of the universe out there in Silicon Valley, have been trying to shut down crowdfunding efforts for people to get out the truth about the Roe V Wade case that legalized abortion. Ahead of the March for Life here. The March for Life, of course, is going to be on January 19th here in Washington, D.C. That is this coming Friday. Nick, I want to thank you for joining us tonight on Breitbart News Sunday.
And Matt, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. First, I want to apologize. I think I've lost my voice today, but thank you for having me on, and if you could just bear with me.
Oh, yeah, no, you sound just fine, brother. All right, so can you tell us, first off, before we get into what happened with Facebook and everything, tell us about the production of Roe v. Wade, the movie. What is this movie going to be about? What is it? Why is this story important to tell?
Well, this is not a documentary. I think there's a big misconception. We're making a feature film, no different like the movie JFK, and it takes on the story from the years of 1966 to 1973, essentially the birth of the women's rights movement versus the birth of the right to life movement, starting off with the founder of Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sanger, and her influence to a guy named Larry Lader and Betty Friedan to push the abortion movement, essentially manipulate the media. Planned Parenthood manipulated the media and the courts into the 1973 decision, and I don't want to give it all away, but it's they had fake news back then there too, coming up with space statistics and fake numbers on how many illegal abortions were happening, and manipulated Norma Corby, that was Jane Roe, into filing the suit.
Who, by the way, has become one of the most pro-life people since then.
Interestingly enough, two people very involved with the actual history of it. A guy named Dr. Bernard Nathanson, who was the biggest abortionist in history, became pro-life. And Jane Roe, Norma Corby, who was used in Roe v. Wade, became pro-life. Unfortunately, Norma passed away later last year.
And so now, Nick, can you? This movie is when it does come out, it's going to be in theaters all across America, right? This is going to be.
Right now we have a commitment to be in 1,000 screens across the United States. Hopefully we'll start shooting the film in the spring and hopefully get it released by the end of the year. Obviously, Hollywood doesn't want to touch this film with the 10-foot pole. Not only that, they're trying to make their own version, which is sort of what I call the Wikipedia version, which doesn't really get into the actual truth and the facts of what happened throughout the case to get there. And so it's a big battle. So trying to raise the money, I had to go to the people, and then we had to launch a crowdfunder the last couple of days. And we've utilized Facebook to try to raise money for our film, which has been a little challenging as well.
And Facebook has been shutting you guys down. They haven't been without explanation. Essentially, they've been blocking you guys from reaching people and crowdfunding off of this. And again, we've seen Facebook do this where they've tried to push a leftist agenda or block a conservative viewpoints from reaching the public. What's happening with Facebook?
Well, they first started not allowing us to share our page with our friends and our networks, even people who came on and liked our page, tried to share it, and Facebook would block them. We even started paying for ads. And they wouldn't even let us share the ads we paid them money for. Since your article in Breitbart came out, they let us add some more friends, but now they've blocked us from liking other pages. And it's sort of like an ongoing game over the past several days with Facebook allowing us to expand. And the challenge really of that is, most of these crowdfunders, you raise 90% of your money in the first couple of weeks when you get publicity and everybody knew on. And so really in these first few weeks is really the most important part for us. And they've really made it challenging. And I think there's a case to be made here. No difference than the case right now in the Supreme Court going on with the cake that's been made, where we have our rights being violated in terms of our religious and personal beliefs. And also, I think there's a little bit of an antitrust issue going on and business fair practices. Now, I'm not an attorney, But I think that, Facebook is sort of one of the only platforms out there that allows you grow and build your friends network to help you do this and help you crowdfund and raise money. And they're controlling what we are able to do.
Mm-hmm. Now, another thing you've been in the news for this past week is you have filed a lawsuit against your ex-fiancée, Sofia Vergara, the star of Modern Family, for embryos that you guys have together. Can you tell us a little bit about the lawsuit and what's going on here?
Sure. I've actually just filed for custody in Louisiana. It's the first time anyone's able to have filed custody for embryos. Most states in this country see embryos as property, hence you can't file for custody for embryos. The state of Louisiana sees them as persons, and most interestingly enough, I think in this case is that we use precedent cases going back to the 1700s. I don't know if you remember a movie called 12 Years a Slave, where Solomon Northup was seen as property by the state of Louisiana, and New York said he was a person. And so we are utilizing those precedent cases where California sees them as property and Louisiana sees them as a person to try to gain custody of our embryos.
Okay, well, Nick, also, where can people go to get more involved on the Roe v. Wade movie? What is the website? How can people get involved to in the process? And will there be things that people can do at the March for Life this coming Friday in D.C.?
Yeah, I mean, you said it yourself. Actually, it's RoeVWadeMovie.com. Very simple. Or go to Google Roe v. Wade movie. You can spread the word, post it on your Facebook if you can, or try. The interesting thing about it, we're giving out a lot of perks. People will have the ability to actually be an actor in the movie or work on the film. If you go to RoeVWade.com, there's a lot of perks that allow you. We're even auctioning off speaking roles or working with the cameraman or the cinematographer. So it's an all-inclusive involvement process. And the more people that get it out there, the better. I mean, I think we have 500,000 people are going to march the march. And if everyone just gave $5, we would have the money to make our film and get the truth out there.
All right. Well, Nick Loeb, I really want to thank you for joining us tonight on Breitbart News Sunday. Look forward to having you back, brother.
Thanks so much, Matt. I appreciate it. Take care. Have a good evening.
All right. Thanks so much. All right. And again,